Greetings and welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. So today I'm going to play a little podcast for you. It's less than 5 minutes. You won't be able to see it on my academic page because I haven't published it, and I probably won't because it's not my podcast and I'm not in control of it. And also I don't entirely agree with everything on it, with everything that's said in it, but at any rate, let's listen to the podcast and then I'll do a little commentary. So this video is going to be around 10 to 15 minutes long. Let's begin.
Welcome to In Depth with Academia. I'm your host, Richard Price, CEO of Academia.edu, and today, we're diving into a highly provocative paper by John Gabriel. It's called Mainstream Mathematics and Calculus Academics Do Not Understand Calculus. Big claim, right? Now remember, my job is to walk you neutrally through Gabriel's arguments. I am not endorsing nor disputing his views here. Instead, I want to present them fairly so you can explore them for yourself and decide what resonates or doesn't. So, what's the core question or problem Gabriel attacks? Well, he basically argues that there's deep confusion, even fundamental misunderstandings, about what the average rate of change in. Why does this matter for all of us, whether you're a student trying to make sense of derivatives, a parent helping with homework, or just someone who likes to think about big ideas? Knowing what math teachers actually mean can make math so much less intimidating, or at least that's Gabriel's position. It's not just about solving problems, it's about deeper understanding, Okay, so let's break down the meat of Gabriel's critique. His main target is that phrase, average rate of change, or AROC as he calls it. Now, if you've taken any calculus, you've probably seen this formula. The difference in fx values over an interval divided by the difference in x values looks like fx plus h minus fx all over h. That's pretty standard, right? But here's the thing. Gabriel says, hold on. What does the word average even mean in this context? He points out that in everyday life, average can mean ordinary, usual, not extreme, whatever. In many textbooks, he says there isn't even a definition of average rate of change. So why is this phrase splashed all over classrooms and assignments? He goes further. He remembers how, as a 9-year-old child genius, he could do these calculations, but the words just didn't make sense to him. And there's nothing actually changing, he says. And oof, as someone who's spent time in a lot of lecture halls, I know that feeling. Sometimes you can do the math, but still not feel like you get it. Now, here's where I should pause and insert as always. My role is to neutrally present Gabriel's viewpoint. He's directly critical, calling mainstream explanations nonsense, and suggesting academics pretend to understand when they don't. His frustration is with the language. He accuses the establishment of intellectual dishonesty because, in his view, key terms aren't explained rigorously. But what can we actually take away from this? What are his tangible insights? First, Gabriel points out that f(x) through h minus fx over h is, at its core, just measuring the slope of a secant line between 2 points on a curve. It's not mysterious, not magical, just a slope. He lists 4 pieces of information you can get from this difference fraction. Again, not ratio, he's picky about that. You get the secant slope, the tangent slope as h approaches 0, the difference between those slopes, and the arithmetic mean of the derivatives in some interval. Though, honestly, that last one's a bit of a technical mouthful for me, but it's all about what you can actually do with this expression. Here's a little side trail. He rails against phrases like instantaneous rate of change, saying nothing is really instantaneous and nothing is changing, so the words themselves are, to him, misleading. This is a linguistics beef as much as a mathematics one, you see. Sometimes I wonder if this happens in other fields too, like, do historians argue over the word revolution the way mathematicians argue over instantaneous? Anyway, back on track. So, what does this mean for you, the listener? Gabriel's message is, don't just memorize formulas. Ask what the words mean, ask what the math really represents. If the language doesn't make sense, it's okay to question it. He even encourages folks to investigate his claims themselves. He's not saying take my word for it, but be skeptical. Explore, find out. honestly, I kind of love that spirit, even if I don't endorse his tone, let's say. To wrap things up, Gabriel's paper is a call to arms, or maybe a call to curiosity. He wants math students and educators to go beyond mechanical procedures and to wrestle with the why and the what of calculus language. Maybe that's a challenge you want to pick up. Whatever you do, just remember, academic research isn't absolute truth. It's one set of ideas among many for you to think about, test, question, and maybe, just maybe, to find your own angle on. That's all for today's episode of In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price. Thanks for exploring with me. If this sparked some thoughts or confusion or even frustration, you're not alone. Keep asking questions. See you next time.
So that was Richard Price, the CEO, using his AI, which he is specially trained. Um, and you can decide for yourself whether he is actually for or against my ideas. I think in many cases, he actually agrees with me, but he dare not say it publicly. Um, that's a bit shameful, I think. But at any rate, I'm not going to criticize him for it. So one thing that he said mistakenly, or that his AI made a mistake on, is that he said the tangent line slope as h approaches zero. No, that's actually completely wrong. It has nothing to do with h approaching zero or any particular value of h. Okay, so that was of course probably partly due to the fact that he's using an AI where he's saving information that he's typed inside, and he hasn't made it clear that that phrase is wrong. Then also, um, he says that he talks about the word revolution and instantaneous, and if there's some kind of analogy between those words and the different types of academics, well, it's not a good analogy because revolution is a very clear and well defined word, but instantaneous is not and never has been. Okay, in fact, instantaneous is just a load of drivel. So no one knows what it means, except to say that when you find an instantaneous rate, all you're doing is you're calculating the slope of a tangent line at a particular point on a given function. That's all it is. Okay. And then his final comment is that academic research is not absolute truth. I'd agree with that generally, but it just depends on whose academic research. Now, mine is absolute truth. Okay, there's no there's no way you're going to debate it. There's no way you're going to talk about it. There's no way you're going to say whether you'll accept it or not based on what you think. It's fact. Okay, and so I've written an article for you to go through. It's this article here. And I explain all these things that Richard Price based his this this podcast of his. He based it on this article. Okay, so and I'll give you a link to the article so that you can go through it and see what I said exactly. So also it's not very clear when he pronounces this f of x plus h minus f of x. It's something wrong with his AI. So but you'll find all the information that you need in this article. It's not a very long article. It's only about 8 pages long. And of course, you'll learn a lot more than you learned from the podcast, which is just simply opinion. But I'm not just giving you opinion, I'm giving you fact. I'm giving you knowledge that's been hidden, okay, that's been unknown, that hasn't been revealed before I came along. Okay, it's brand new knowledge. So, um, what I'd like to say is, if you can donate at this link here, gofund.me, and this code here, and the money will come through to me. So, if you want to encourage me to carry on producing articles and carry on teaching you these wonderful things you never understood, even you mainstream professors, then you should go ahead and contribute at the site. Also, this podcast won't be seen on my site because I cannot publish it. To publish it to academia, I would have to pay 150 euros a year, and I certainly don't have that kind of money. And I wouldn't pay it even if I did because I have no control over what is said in the podcast. Um, and that's pretty much it. All I want to say is that yes, this is not just research. It's not just research, as Richard Price says. This is fact. This is knowledge. This is knowledge which I discovered, which is correct in every way, sense, form, and shape. It's not debatable. You can't decide whether you like it or not, and on that basis that you're going to reject it or not reject it. It's fact. So I encourage you to read it, study it carefully, and then also become a member of my YouTube channel. It's free and it'll help me by increasing my revenue a little bit. And then also you can follow me on academia.edu where I publish these papers. So all you have to do is open a free account on Academia and you can see everything that gets posted. And of course, you won't be able to hear the podcasts, and I'm not going to be recording them again. I've just recorded this very last one just to give you an idea. Um, but you learn pretty much more by reading my articles than you would by listening to the podcast, to be honest. So nothing against Richard Price. He's probably a very nice guy. Love to have dinner with him sometime. In fact, I'd love to interview him online, but I don't even know if asking him will help. So for that very reason, I'm going to refrain from asking him if I can interview him and get his actual opinion. So I'll let you all decide for yourselves whether he is for me or against me, and whether he really is as neutral as he says he is. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm John Gabriel. Till next time, goodbye.